I literally took like a fucking sink shower. I came here.
You're wild, bro. You're wild. You caught that, Angel?
Bro, that's why I got my travel size pomade. I went to the bathroom, dog, and I washed my face. And I'm like, all right, let me do my hair real quick.
We run? All right, it's Inkcon day 3. We're here with our friend Justin.
What's up, guys?
Some of the Pachuco is here. How you doing, Justin?
Doing all right, man.
For sure.
Hanging in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How was your experience so far this weekend?
Yeah, you know, like, so our booth, you know, as the same with the Pachuco booth, is right by the front door. So we've been able to, like, greet everybody that's been coming in, but most people, they want to check out the whole show first, and you know, they end up getting stuck on somebody else. So we haven't been tattooing as much as we would have wanted to be, but you know, it's just the way that it was just like set up.
Definitely.
What shop are you
at? Black Umbrella in Garden Grove. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they're like really
on Main Street.
They're like really up the street from us.
Sinner.
She's not there
Cynthia,
anymore.
but she used to.
She's in her private studio.
She used to.
Yeah, Cynthia's cool, man. Cynthia's cool.
Small world.
I was saying, you guys got open spots in there. We might guest spot one of these days. You know?
Yeah, George has been looking to do a lot more guest spotting.
I think I stopped by one time, bro.
Yeah, man.
Because I used to live by there.
Yeah, dude.
Sick.
Like, yeah, come by whenever.
Sick.
How long have you been tattooing, Justin?
It's actually kind of hard to add that up because, so I was tattooing for 1.5 years back when I was in, like, I would say like, it was like 2014. Because I started my apprenticeship in 2012. I was like apprenticing for about 1.5 years until I finally was able to touch a machine, you know, like old school.
Definitely.
And then I tattooed for 1.5 years after that. And then I stopped tattooing to go to college, graduated from college, got back into tattooing. So that was in 2019. So it's really hard to add it all up because then lockdown happened.
Definitely.
You know, Pandy happened, and then that threw a wrench in a lot of stuff. So we couldn't go, I couldn't go full time during that, of course, and I didn't have enough clients to kind of do any, like, you know, little backdoor action, any pirate action like that. So I had to wait it out. And then, so I would say that January 2021 is when I started to actually have a career.
Okay.
That's when I started to actually pay my bills with tattooing.
Yeah, I feel like during the pandemic, a lot of it was like a burst of creatives. You know, a lot of new people started new careers, started new businesses. That's amazing to hear, man. Yeah. So Justin, he's actually our neighbor booth, and so new friend here. As I was telling you, you know, we have a podcast called Back in the Day. We gotta have you on there sometime too.
I would love
man.
to be on there, man.
What type of style do you like to work with, bro?
It's a little bit like somewhere between like new school and neo-traditional. It's like kind of like I try to like bring a lot of the stuff that I learned in college like into like tattooing. I wasn't like, you know, when I was apprenticing, like there was like I had my heroes like that I really looked up to, but then
who are some of your heroes?
Like David Tevnall, huge fan of Honky Konger.
Oh yeah.
Timmy B. You know, like these guys, like, I mean, and like I've had the pleasure of meeting some of them, and like they're all so cool people. Like,
Are some of them even here today, or?
You know, this is more like I feel like the majority of the people here are like guys that like, you know, that were also heroes, but like not necessarily like art heroes, but more so like, oh, these guys are like killing it in tattooing. You know, like but they're like on more like a black and gray focus.
There definitely is a lot of black and gray.
Yeah.
George, I don't know if you saw, it's actually a lot of anime characters, full color.
Yeah.
I did see like some Super Mario characters in there too on your flash.
Super Mario. I just released a Super Mario Flash, but a lot of the stuff that I do is like just kind of original stuff, like just whatever just comes off the top of my head. It's like this is the kind of stuff that I was drawing in college, and then I've just made it tattooable.
That's badass.
Yeah. I dig the Game Boy tat right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that was done by Joey Foot.
Nice. Yeah, it's actually Juan's first convention. A few of the guys here at the shop, it's their first convention, and I noticed that you have like a travel schedule, a tour schedule. Yeah. I mean, I've been asking a lot of artists this weekend, if you don't mind answering this question, if you can give one tip to an up-and-coming artist on how to prepare for a tattoo convention, what's like some advice that you would give them, or one tip?
So there's a few things that I would throw out there right away. I mean, it's cool that like you're doing this with your shop for the first time because
Eric too. Shout out to Eric.
Eric too. Shout out to Eric. You guys like have like the shop to kind of like do a lot of the legwork for you. But if you're at a show, like let's say you want to go to a show, let's say like you and Eric are going to go do a show in like Denver or whatever. Right. I would say like there's a few things that you got to know, like if you're going into it without like the support system. The one thing is like you want to have takeaways. That's a big thing, is like having something that you can just give to the client that they can keep with them. So whether that's a business card, postcard, sticker, lighter, pen, whatever you want to.
This guy needs to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, he ain't got no business cards, bro.
Whatever you want to. Yeah, I mean, you could go on Vistaprint and get some cheap cards.
Right. Right.
I would say like there's like takeaways that's something that you want. The other thing is that you want to have like a good attitude.
Appreciate it.
and engage with the people that are walking by. That's the big thing that I've noticed as a client when I've come to conventions is I'll walk around a tattoo convention and I won't get a single word out of anybody. They're looking down on their iPad or their phone. They're not paying attention to who's around there. I walk up and they're like mad. They're like immediately like, "Hey man, you want to get tattooed?" Like,
business right away, right?
Yeah. For me, like the first thing I want to know is who is it that I'm talking to? You know, ask people what their name is, shake their hand, how you doing, where you from? Are you from here? Is this your first show? Like, have you been to tattoo conventions before? And all that information is not just helpful as like for them, like to know as a tattooer, but it's also helpful like to kind of like build rapport, you know, to like actually build a relationship with the client. Because I do the same thing at home, but I think a lot of people don't do this at these shows, and like I've been on the client side of it, and it's been disappointing. So like, I mean, you know, like I went to a convention in Houston, just kind of walked through there. Like I wasn't tattooing there, but I just walked through there just to see what it was like. And there was only one person who talked to us when we walked through the whole thing. One person. And I still remember her to this day.
Wow.
You know, she was just very nice. She just like complimented my girlfriend's shirt.
Okay. And sometimes that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
I think that's just like good tattoo etiquette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just being friendly. You know what I mean? Like even like today, bro. Like these like the first day, bro. Like coming into this, like a lot of the artists were like saying what's up. You know what I mean? How you doing? You know what I mean? Love your work or. You know, like, oh, I seen you on that podcast, you know, like a lot of people like just being real cool, real nice, you know what I mean? I think that's just like cool because then that's what gives it like a fun experience to be working at a convention, especially like if it's your first time and you don't know anything or you don't know anybody, you're kind of like intimidated by a lot of the artists here because obviously they're more higher up than what you feel like you're at, you know what I mean? So for them to be like coming up to you and be like, hey, I checked out your portfolio. Good work, bro. Like, I love your work. You know what I mean? Keep it up. You know what I mean? Or just in the sense like, hey, like, have a good time, you know, here. Like, hey, like, come check out our booth or whatever. Come stop by, say hi. You know what I mean? That's what makes it all worth it when you're coming at a convention, even especially for clientele. You know, when people are coming by, they're walking by, you know, they don't know who you are. You know what I mean? So you want to be coming up to them and making that connection so you can be like, okay, like, how can I get this guy to buy my merch or if like check out my stuff or just to build a connection with that client? If you're always just like in your corner, you know what I mean? Like you said, like just on your iPad or on your phone.
Yeah, I tell people all the time at my shop, I tell people all the time, people, they decide if they want to get tattooed in your shop within 30 seconds or less, you know? So it's important to greet everybody. Everybody that walks in, greet them, say hi. Nobody likes to get sold. So when you're saying, I've seen that, you know, in conventions in the past, right away, it's like, oh, what do you want to get done? Like, you know, I agree with you on that approach. It's like, I want to know who you are. What are you here for? Who are you here to see? I let them ask that question. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's putting, you know, because right away you're approaching with business first. It's like it should be more a personal connection first, and then the business comes second. 100%.
Yeah. And then I also think that like one of the best pieces of advice that I've gotten as like, you know, coming into it from people that I really look up to and respect, they've all told me like, make sure that you make time to go around the show and meet people, shake hands, even if it's like somebody who is doing something that's doing completely different from you, it's like just making connections with other artists is so important because it helps keeps our community tight. It helps 100%. Keep the industry tight. And it's like the other thing too is that's a great way to find people like that might want to work at your shop or they might want to guest spot. They want you to come out or they want to come to you, you know, and it's like, you know, like some people have clients all over the States, Orange County included. And so maybe they're like, oh, I've been looking for a spot in Orange County. Like, you guys have like a booth open? Yeah. And then you're like, oh, maybe I do. That maybe your shop does. Or you're like, oh, hey, well, down the street, I know my friend Justin, you know, I know that they have a booth open and you could go there.
Definitely.
Is helping each other out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's just like a community, dog.
It's a network.
Like we gotta always gotta be together. You know what I mean? It's one thing like if you're like someone who works private, you know what I mean? But if you work like in a tattoo shop, it's always better just to come together and just work together and stuff, you know, like it just makes you learn more. You know what I mean? You learn more if you're always talking to other artists, if you know, because in the tattoo industry, you know what I mean, even though your apprenticeship might have ended, you're always learning. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's always cool to like go and work at another shop, talk to another artist, see how they work, how they tattoo. Maybe you pick up something that you didn't even know that works better for you, and then that makes your job even more easier. And then you're like, man, like, hey, I got some knowledge too. And then, you know, so the knowledge is always sharing around. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what's always cool about it, especially when it comes to conventions. You know what I mean? Like, like the first thing I did was just start walking around and just talking to other artists and just seeing how they tattoo, and I'd be like, man, like I don't even know how to tattoo like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. How do you do that? You know what I mean? Or like, hey, I did this one trick, try it out, and I'd be like, oh, dude, it made my job so much easier. Like, appreciate it, dog. You know? Well,
some of these guys that are at this show, even in like a lot of the shows I've been to, it's like they're doing stuff that I can't even wrap my head around. Mm-hmm. I have my style, and I have the thing that I like to do. You know, I work in a street shop, so like I do like walk-in style stuff too. Like I kind of just wear a lot of hats if I have to. But for the most part, almost like I would say 80% of what I do is my style, and I'm walking around the show and I'm seeing these people doing like these, like a full, like from like butt to like ankle piece. Crazy. It's like just like photo realism. And they're like out in one, like, crazy one weekend. And I'm just like, I can't even wrap my head around it. Like I wouldn't even know how to approach setting up a 3-day tattoo, because it's not something I do often. You know, I work on like half sleeves, you know, I work on like a big piece maybe, but nothing that is going to take 3 days at a convention. I haven't even like broached that yet. You know, I would love to, but you know, building the relationship with those people that are doing that, it's like, it gives you the opportunity to be like, hey, like, can you tell me a bit more about how you set that? How do you approach this? You know? Definitely. You know?
Yeah, the guy that's on the other side of us at Raw, you got to come check him out. He's been working on this. I think he's on day 2, right?
Day 2.
Yeah. Definitely got to check him out.
It's wild, man.
Juan, how are you feeling, man? This is your first convention. Yeah, what's something that you would change, you know, or, you know, to better prepare? What would you do differently now?
So now I know with the whole,
now you know what to expect.
With the whole business cards, getting stickers, getting just like either prints of my artwork or the tattoos.
Bro,
as well.
Everybody loved your lighters, dog.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the lighters. I need to get more lighters.
Everybody was wanting to buy all of his lighters, and I'm like, bro, like that's like it. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you got on everybody. Yeah. Nobody's tattooing on lighters. Like, yeah, there's people tattooing on lighters and other stuff and stuff like that, like to show their artwork and stuff. But I'm like, bro, like you gotta come prepared when you go to a convention. You know what I mean? I see other
and I don't know what to expect, to be honest. But
you know what's cool too is like when I like literally Friday, I saw your lighters and I was immediately like, that's a really and there's for multiple reasons why. Like people can like your art and they like the lighter and they're not gonna get rid of it. Right? They're gonna they want to keep it and then they're not gonna let their friends you know. Right. But like, there's tons of like tattooers that are walking around being like, anybody got a lighter? They're like,
bro, the first day, bro. Who remember? Someone said like, yo, anyone, you got a light, dog? Like, bro, just bust it out. Boom. Like, oh, this shit is sick. Like, yeah, I tattooed it.
And they're all white lighters, right?
Yeah.
You guys know the curse of the white lighters, right? All the legends. What is it? Janis Joplin. A lot of these artists passed away with the white lighter in their pocket. Yeah. So usually I buy the pink one. That way nobody steals my lighter.
That way you know, like you get the bright color one. So that way you're like, hey, that's mine.
Yeah, 100%.
I write my name on it.
You know? Pimpkin's pimping, bro. You know.
Yeah. You see, for me, I don't smoke anything. Like when I was an apprentice, it's like one of the rules was you have to carry change. You have to carry a knife and you have to carry a lighter.
That's the rules for an apprentice?
Well, it was back in the day when I was apprenticing.
What were some of those rules? I'd love to hear
back in the day.
Yeah, so I I had to carry a lighter because I didn't smoke, but everybody else did.
Everyone else did.
So so they'd be like, hey man, lighter. You know, and then I'd run up and have my lighter.
You do for them?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Hey, when you're an apprentice, dog, you gotta be on everything, like helping everybody, you know.
What else were some of those rules, man?
Well, so like, you know, I had to keep change in my pocket always, so that way I could, you know, just always had money. Like that was kind of a rule for life, you know, just always have change in your pocket. And I'm just like, okay, cool. The other thing was I had to carry a knife. because you never know, like it's not so much like a defense thing. It's more so like, hey, when a box shows up, you need to be open up that box. Like there's many different things that you can use a knife for. Slice an apple, whatever. It wasn't always like hey, you gotta. And another thing, I needed to know how to fight.
Really.
because like artists' hands are too precious. True. So they're like, hey man, if we get in a squabble, you got to be ready. It never happened. It never happens. That's like even like every like no matter where I've worked, we've never had like an altercation. We've had moments where like people come in, they're like drunk or high on something, and they start acting up, but. Basically, like if somebody starts acting the Mickey, we just ask them to leave, and they're pretty much.
I thought it was like, oh, you don't got the money. Oh, really? You don't got the money like that? Yeah, I know. Right?
But I mean, apprenticeships are very different now than they were like 11 years ago. And when I was apprenticing, it's like the guys there would be like, oh, you have it easy. And so you hear people nowadays like tell the apprentices, oh, you have it easy. 10 years ago, it's like this. And
every year, it's always like every apprenticeship
definitely
like,
gets easier and easier.
I tell that to my apprentice too, and when he comes in, I'm like, bro, like I had my apprenticeship, bro. They had me fucking running down, fucking left and right, doing this and that. I had to wear a belt. It was fucking like razors and tongue depressors and fucking the shop phone and stuff. Ready. You know what I mean? Like, I had to be doing all that shit, cleaning the bathroom, mopping. You know what I mean? And occasionally they'd be hiding like the penny in like somewhere around there. He's like, if you didn't clean the shop, and I know if you didn't clean the shop, and then it'd be like, I cleaned the whole shop, and then like find the penny. You clean the shop, this penny wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck.
I have to say, I was pretty good, about cleaning because I was like, so I apprenticed at Original Goodfellas over in.
That's right. That's
sick.
And that was, it was a long time ago, but I was pretty good about being there. I was always there at 10 o'clock. We open at noon. So like no matter what, I was always there. And when I got deeper into my apprenticeship, I was working 7 days a week. I worked a half day on Sunday, but I was there from 2 hours before they opened, and I would be there an hour after they closed, and I would be cleaning twice a day. Crazy. Like I'd be making sure that everything was done. But my big thing was I would always, I'd set up and break down for the artist, and there was always one thing I forgot. That was like my big sin. Is like there was always one thing. So it would always be like the tape on the power supply knob. Yeah. I'd forget the tape, or I'd forget like the barrier film on their lamp, and then they'd be going in, and they'd be like, what the hell? Yelling at me. They're like, get over here.
Now, do you feel like that discipline made you like the artist you are today, right?
Man. Oh yeah. Right? So before my apprenticeship, I was like when I was in high school, I was just one of those like gifted kids that just could like not study for the test and like show up and get an A
and be able to,
So and that is
good
the
under pressure,
worst thing ever for work ethic, dude. I would never study. I was never on point like with anything. Like I would just never take anything seriously. So then when I came into my apprenticeship, it's like actually even to earn the apprenticeship was I was working. I was originally trying to apprentice for a guy named Turbo. By Turbo, his name is Eric. Yep. He's retired from tattooing now.
He moved out of state too, right?
He's in the South, I believe, but he retired from tattooing.
Yeah, I remember Turbo.
Turbo's awesome. He's an amazing guy.
Kim too from Goodfellas.
Yeah, Kim. Well, I never got
Rest
to
in
meet,
peace.
I never got to meet Kim. Unfortunately, it was just like I came right after she had passed. So I was trying to learn from Turbo, and I brought him my portfolio. And he was just like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, this is really great work. There's potential. It's raw, but there's potential. And he's like, I want you to draw me like 10 flash sheets and then come back. And so I went and I drew the 10 flash sheets, and I came back, and he looked at them. He goes, this is crap. He goes, what you showed me before was way better than this.
He's like, I need another 10.
And then he's like, this is
give me 20.
He's like, you put no effort into this, and I'm just like, oh, man, dude. And like I was all like hurt, like I was all insecure kid. I was like, but like he was right. And then so I came back, and I started to like that, having that high expectation, because I grew up without a dad, so I never had much like of like that strong like expectation put on me, because I was like all my mom ever wanted was me to do good in school, and I did that automatically, so I never had to really work that hard for anything. Then during my apprenticeship, that's when I started to actually have to work, like physical labor, and like and like
something that you really wanted though, right?
And I had a pretty decent time. Like it wasn't like it wasn't like I had like the roughest time ever. Like, especially when I hear like the old timers, like their stories of their, every generation, it's like, it's easier, but then like the older guys, like the older guard, they're like curmudgeons about it, like they're all like pissed off. I see myself doing it too now, because I'm like, bro, 10 years ago it was completely different. But then I'm like, you know what? Sometimes it's better. It's better to let go of certain things that weren't helping anybody. Yep. It just, it's just the way it is, So. Right. But yeah, modern apprenticeships now, like, sometimes you got people who are, they just immediately tattooing like a week in, I don't agree with that,
Yeah, no,
that's
definitely.
Maybe where those are the artists that didn't have like an actual professional apprenticeship, right? And they lack in those things. Yeah. And sometimes you could be like the dopest artist, but if you're not punctual, you're terrible at like communicating with your client, you lose clients,
Because then that's going to be your whole etiquette on when it comes to actually tattooing people.
Yeah.
Like if you're running late or you don't even show up, or like you decide like, oh, I'm going to start tattooing like around like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I'm like, bro, like you might as well not even come in at all, Like that's just like how because again, that's how my apprenticeship was. I did the same thing. I showed up like at 10 in the morning. The shop would be closed, and I'd just be waiting outside until like the first guy would show up to open up the doors, And then like the first thing I would do is sweep and mop, man aside everything and clean the windows and everything and making sure that everyone's good and bringing down their stations. Remember that one time, Hirsch, speaking about like how like you missed something? Remember that one time when I was breaking you down and I threw away your handle from your machine, bro, and then I threw it in the dumpster.
Sick.
And then Edge X, he threw away the whole.
Bro, I had to dive in the dumpster.
You thought it was disposable.
Because I thought it was disposable, you know what I mean? Because it was all wrapped, and I was like, all right, everyone's using disposable. I didn't know like we had like metal, tubes and stuff. So I had to literally dive in the dumpster, look through each fucking bag until I found it, then manicide the shit out of it, throw it in autoclave. You know what I mean? I'm over here like apologizing like 1,000 times because he's all telling me like, yeah, that's like $100 or $200 fucking handle or whatever. And I'm like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, but even stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like that also like makes me think like, okay, like I'm not gonna do this. You know what I mean? Learn from that mistake and be like, okay, like check everyone's shit before, check your own shit when you're tattooing. Make sure that once you break down or you're setting up, like everything is on point. Because even when you're tattooing, presentation is always key. You know what I mean? Like, do you have a clean setup or is like everything all over the place? You know what I mean? Because the artist is going to see like, okay, like this was like water bottle or like his squirt bottle is like all the way over there and it's not even wrapped yet or whatever. There. Yeah, like keys, phones, wallets, you know what I mean?
iPad on the thing.
Yeah, like
his phone with the gloves.
You know what I mean? Like, like I've seen some grimy stuff before, bro. Like where like they be like I saw this guy, he was tattooing, and then with that same glove, he just put like a paper towel over it, and he was eating a burger with it. You know what I mean? Like that shit is fucking crazy.
One of the artists here handed me a sticker, but with the glove he was tattooing with, I was like, bro.
Yeah, man. It's
like yesterday too.
I'm like, where's OSHA?
Right.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I'll take the next sticker.
Yeah, I was like, let me get another.
Yeah, like even when like you're saying hello to people too, like just the common, the elbow bump, you know what I mean? Like, but when people go with their glove and they just like fist bump, I'm just like, bro, like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to fucking get anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's just being cleanliness, being proper, being professional. You know what I mean? And that's all what you learn from your apprenticeship that you should learn when starting out as an apprenticeship. Once you like after that, like techniques and styles and stuff like that, that's all like between you and that one other artist that you're trying to learn. But the basics of when it comes to an apprenticeship is learning tattoo etiquette 101, cleanliness, setup, how to break down properly. You know what I mean? Everyone knows how to do it. It's nothing new. You know what I mean? We all go through it every year when we had to fill out our bloodborne pathogens. You know what I mean? Like how to break down, where should our sharps and containers be? You know what I mean? Like how to properly like disinfect all of our stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's all common stuff. But that's always like a fun part when learning how to do all that stuff, because then you got to see like the apprentice like struggle. In my perspective, like I see him and he's like struggling, and I'm like, bro, like it's
so simple.
I've been there, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna make fun of you right now, but I've been there, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you gotta break some balls.
Definitely
you gotta break some balls.
Yeah. But back to the convention. What did you think about the promotion with the videos? What do you
it's like shout out to Elvis, man.
Shout out to Elvis. The guys here.
Shout out to Elvis.
Did you
Joey,
catch any
Freddie?
the promotion for it on the Inkcon page? I was just curious because what they did was they were going around in person shooting videos at the shop. They were introducing their crews. It was really cool. You get to see inside their shops.
I saw the one for My Tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw theirs, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool, man. Like that's cool. Like it would have been cool. Like I love to be a part of like videos and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Like, promoting. Like there's a lot of like shows that are popping up here and there that are like first year shows or whatever, and it's always interesting to see how things are promoted, and then like see what like the showrunners decide to do for next year. They're like,
Definitely.
okay, what did we learn from this stuff? Like thinking like, oh, this is the first time that Inkcon's going on. It's like there's bound to be issues. There's bound to be issues. Like
100%.
no matter what, even like shows that have been going on for a long time, there's always issues that. But first time, it's like there's things that you never expect to happen, and even in like the promotion and like things like that, I feel like there's always going to be like room for improvement no matter what. So like next year, probably going to be a completely different approach.
Sure. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, day 3 here at Inkcon. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Let them know where they could find you, man.
You can find me on Instagram, shimrocklovesyou. That's SHIMROCK, loves you.
All right, and I'm Herschel Carrasco.
Juan_on_Juan.
I'm George, aka GTA Tattoos.
Shout out to the guys here at Inkcon. It's day 3.
Thanks, guys.
That's a wrap.
Oh yeah, that was cool, bro. You killed it.
Cool.
Is that your first?